The Gene scene 1 was a continuation from seasons 3 and 4. And that's kind of different because seasons 1 and 2, the Gene scenes were isolated on their own. Tunnel vision was throughout the entire episode, and we see that Gene has tunnel vision. What does Gene have tunnel vision for? His lunches. I'm G, and this is the G Spot. Gene is alert the entire beginning of his scene. He's looking everywhere and listening for possible signs of danger. He has nothing like tunnel vision. He's all over the place with his eyes. He's got the scanner on, his ears. Gene is alert, right? Now, we see him eat twice during this very alert time. Once, he has French toast at the diner, but at that point, he's too sidetracked, nervous, whatever, to eat. He doesn't even touch his French toast. 2, he eats at home, while he hides out at home for a couple days, and he eats there. When Gene eats at home, there's no enjoyment in it, there's no pleasure, there's no preparation. It looked like he ripped open a can, and he's using the top to shovel the food in. It's kind of hard to tell, but he's not using silverware, and it looks like it just might be sardines, or possibly like something like cat food. I doubt it's cat food, but it's definitely canned food, and he's not even using silverware to eat it. He's just shoveling it in like this, you know? So after Gene feels that he's been on alert long enough, and it's safe, he returns to work. Gene's on his lunch, so we're seeing him eat a third time, and Gene really enjoys his lunch, right? He takes out this carefully wrapped and packed lunch. It has several aspects to it. It's not just one thing, like I'm just getting food in my mouth like he was doing at home. And then he sits and reads, so he can read and eat, because at the diner he was reading the paper, but he wasn't eating, but he can read and eat. Gene's really at peace during his lunch. And not only is Gene at peace during his lunch, but he's surrounded by people. Now, Jimmy McGill likes being around people. This is probably the only point in Gene's life when he can be around people and not be nervous or not be on edge or on high alert. Gene has tunnel vision for his lunch breaks because, I know it sounds silly, right? But I truly mean that, because it's the only time Gene can be around people and not on edge. You know, when he's on his lunch break, it's like he's part of the background. He isn't even a person. It's mostly strangers in the mall, not just to Gene, but to themselves. So it's a crowd of strangers, and Gene is just kind of sitting in the background, hardly noticeable. After being on alert for so long, this is how Jeff is able to approach Gene with Gene never seeing coming. Because Gene's involved in tunnel vision when he's on his lunch, and he doesn't see Jeff coming, even though he spent so much time on high alert. I really felt bad for Gene because of that. Jeff comes up to him and identifies him, and then Gene goes into a different kind of tunnel vision, which is, our flight or fight response. Gene is in flight, man, and he can only see one thing, and that is get myself to safety. He goes and calls the vacuum guy, and then Gene changes his mind, and he says, I'm gonna fix it myself. Now, quick side note, we can definitely take Gene's line of I'm gonna fix it myself and connect it to one of Saul's last lines in the episode when Saul says to Kim, we can fix this. See, Gene says, I'm gonna fix it myself. And at the end of the episode, Saul says, Kim, we can fix this. Kim and Jimmy fix things together. It's part of what Jimmy likes about Kim. But we're gonna see this season that they start moving away from fixing things together. That's why we hear Gene say, I'm gonna fix this. Gene hangs up the phone, and Gene walks out of a tunnel. He's in that little hallway on the phone, and he walks out of it. Gene walks out, and he walks in out of focus. You can't see, pretty quickly too. We see Kim, Lalo, and Gene all come into focus in this episode. At those 3 moments, if we look at those 3 characters, it's because they're all coming out of the unknown and starting to get some clarity. Lalo starts to get some clarity on Gus. Kim starts to get some clarity on Jimmy's name change. And Gene starts to get some clarity on whether he's really being followed or not. But at the end, Gene walks out of the tunnel and he walks into blurriness, into something he can't see. What's Gene's plan? How is he going to handle it himself? The first shot we get of Gene when he returns to work is right after we see this mall floor cleaner driving in. We follow it in, and then we cut to a shot and we can see Gene bringing the Cinnabon sign out, and 2 girls come up to him. This shot of Gene, the very first shot of him back at work, is a shot of Gene behind bars. Gene is behind bars in this shot. I do not think that's a coincidence. I think it's really significant. As we said, in the end, Gene walks out of a tunnel and into the unknown, into that blurriness where he can't see. Gene is going to fix this himself. What? Gene has no power where he is. He has no power. So when Gene says, I'm going to fix this myself, it's hard to imagine what he's going to do except for one thing, because actually Gene does have power when it comes to turning himself in as Saul Goodman. If Gene turns himself in to the authorities, he can feel like he's on his lunch break all the time. At this point, I don't think Gene cares about prison. I think where he is worse than prison. We see in the fourth season, he explains that to Huel. He explains you don't always want to be on the run. It's like craziness. Between the shot we get of Gene behind bars, the fact that Gene's tunnel vision is his lunch break, that we see him walking out of a tunnel at the end and into the unknown, and that is what is unknown to Jimmy, Saul, and Gene, doing what you're supposed to, following the law, following the rules. I have a strong feeling that we will see Gene turn himself in and end up behind bars. I do hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't be afraid to like and share it. And if you do want to make sure that you see all of the videos I put up on Better Call Saul's 5th season, go ahead, subscribe, and ding the bell, and you will be alerted every time I upload a video. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.